Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go. Hello there, this is BK on the air, here to tell you that if you hear the telephone number, please don't call, because this is a rebroadcast.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Give you the answer to that question, Mr. Bender, next Saturday. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Well, you know, we're in that kind of, twilight time, that quiet time that I like to. For most people, it's after Christmas and New Year's, you know, that slowdown time before, like, Easter, I guess, after New Year's and Valentine's Day. But now we're in that little area between October 31st, which was Halloween, and Thanksgiving. It's that nice quiet time, that downtime that I have, where I'm like, okay, now Halloween's behind us. We're cruising into fall. Things are nice and cool outside. At least it is here in the southeastern United States. It's probably been a lot colder elsewhere and a lot warmer elsewhere, depending on where you are. But for us, it's been nice and cool, and you can get out and actually do things. Some people call it cold. I call it cool. I don't really put on a jacket or anything until it gets below 50 degrees. Some people put on, like, soon as it dips to 60, people start building a fire around my area and wearing parkas outside and gloves and everything. I'm like, no, if I put that much clothing on and it's 50 degrees still, I start sweating. So I can't, I got a lot of natural insulation. Anybody seeing pictures of me can just tell exactly what I'm talking about. I'm a radiator. I'm a heater. That's why when Mrs. BK gets a little cold before she turns the heater on in the living room, we're watching television, she's like, "Oh, I'm cold. Let me snuggle up against you because you're warm." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm that way all the time. Sorry." It's BK on the air, AM 1450, 100.3 FM, WBHF. It is me. It's time to talk about all that fun stuff that I like to flip on the switch and start talking about every Saturday from 10 a.m. till noon Eastern. Nostalgic, retro, geekiness, monkey business. We got a lot coming up on the program today. I got a few Halloween leftovers. You know how you have leftovers in the refrigerator? I got a few Halloween leftovers that I want to talk about. One spooky story about the Twilight Zone that I've got. I want to do this Halloween night, but we had a lot of stuff on our Halloween show. And if you haven't listened to our Halloween Spooktacular here at WBHF from 9 p.m. till midnight on Halloween, no matter what night Halloween falls on. And this last Sunday on Halloween was no different. We had a good time. Alan Sanders, Walt Murray, and myself. We come in here and we seal the doors up so no undead or any type of ghosts or goblins can get in and throw us off the air. While we're on the air having a spooky good time for 3 hours every Halloween night. I mean, we do. We go around to all the openings of the door with garlic and stuff, and we try to press it around and make sure everything is sealed up before we go on the air, because we don't even... We're the ghouls that are on for 3 hours. The only thing that does is when we take the garlic and put it around the openings of the radio station is it just makes me want some spaghetti. You know? How about you?
I love the smell of garlic.
Alan Sanders garlic is now not overpowering garlic, and not after I've eaten, belching garlic. I don't like that smell of garlic because that happens too. But because garlic and Crystal hamburgers are the two things that stay with you for a while. You know what I mean? They'll just the day after I have garlic or something, I remember it from, that's garlic I had from the...
I love when I cook fresh garlic and I can smell it on the tips of my fingers because the oil kind of soaks in. It's like, I want a biscuit. I want a roll. I want a dinner roll. I want it soaked in oil. Oh.
And see, now I want some right now. We always start talking about it. And that's the worst thing I can do is start watching a video on YouTube. There's a lot of reviews of food on video. There's one channel, I can't remember the channel, but they call their little show on YouTube, their podcast,
Two Bald Guys Eat Stuff and Talk About It.
It's a great thing where they run this grocery store somewhere, and they'll take 12 barbecue sauces and review them. And they'll put them in unmarked, containers. They'll put a cover over the container so they don't know what it is, and they'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Everything, bread, cereal, Dorito flavors. They just go through a plethora of reviewing stuff.
Actually, kind of a cool idea for a channel.
Oh, it is, and they've got it. And there's several there's several ones that do that. Good Mythical Morning is another great one that I subscribe to, where they do that. Only they do fast food and a lot of other things, and they'll get even more intricate on that one. They'll review breakfast sandwiches from different fast food places, and then they'll try to guess where it's from. Like, is this sausage biscuit from McDonald's, or is it from Hardee's, or is it from Burger King? They'll try to identify it, but then they'll go through what's called the Frankenstein round, where they'll take the biscuit from Burger King and put the sausage patty from McDonald's and see if they can identify what Franken sandwich they're having. Wow. They don't always get that right, but it's another interesting concept to do.
Still fun to watch.
Which is great. It is fun, and they're very entertaining. I think they're out of North Carolina. They're very nice. I'll tell you the rabbit hole I've been down lately, and I know you have too, as I've been watching a lot of I know there's a lot of reaction videos out there to music, but I love the ones that are usually of people who've never heard it before, or they're younger millennial kids who have never heard this particular group before. And right now, of course, since I'm an ELO Electric Light Orchestra fan, I've been watching a lot of first-time reactions to ELO, Mr. Blue Sky, some of their albums, some of their other hits. And it's very interesting to hear how these kids react. And I haven't heard one negative, this sucks, comment at all. They're like, oh, this is awesome. Listen to the choir. Listen how they mix the choir with the orchestra and the rock guitars and blah, blah, blah.
How many of them have you stumbled across go, that's from that movie?
Right. Did I hear this in Guardians of the Galaxy? What's going on there? So it's fun to watch that, too, and listen to that. 770-386-1450 is our number. Hey, somebody's calling in right now already in the first segment. Hey, it's BK on the air. Who's this?
I never heard the Halloween show.
Well, where were you Sunday night from 9 to midnight?
Oh, okay. Come on later then. I went to bed at 8:30.
You went to bed at 8:30 on Halloween night? What, did you have to go to work Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that's why. Okay, then that explains it.
We actually walked out to the end of the road of our cul-de-sac there to do our trick-or-treat and give out a candy.
Right.
And I carried a portable radio out there where I could hear the show, and all I heard was those stupid Braves.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that stupid?
Yeah, we were glad that we preempted the Braves that night. That was a bad night.
Yeah, I just got the Braves back because they usually preempt my show on Saturday sometimes when they have an early game, and they'll make me go off the air an hour early. So it was kind of my way of kind of quietly getting back at the Braves by preempting them on Halloween night from 9 to midnight.
And I told my wife, I said, my gracious, I said, I turned on the radio to listen to the Halloween show, and all I hear is this Terry Laws.
Well, if you follow Alan and I on Facebook or anything, we're going to post the Halloween show on there, and you'll be able to hear a recording of it and just hear how much spooky good fun we had. You'll be able to hear it.
Yeah, I'll find me and Alan. We're friends on Facebook.
Good.
Yeah,
Y'all have a good week.
So, yeah, perfect time to segue into a spot here. That was good. So, yeah, if you missed our Halloween show, you can hear it. We'll post it. You'll be able to hear it in its entirety, whatever platform we post it on. Just be on the lookout. It's not really dated if you haven't heard it. So, I don't care if it came out Halloween night and Halloween's over.
No.
It's still entertaining. We had a great time. I thought it was fun. And I look forward to doing that every year, along with a lot of other stuff that we do.
As long as they'll let us.
As long as they'll let us. And, we never, nothing's guaranteed in life. I mean, I could come in here next Saturday and the blocks could be changed, and this could be a totally different formatted radio station. I don't think it's going to happen, but, it's happened before. You never can tell. Speak on the air. Maybe I'll come back after the break.
We'll return after these announcements.
Get a little closer. Now don't be shy. You can get a little closer with Arid Extra Dry.
Only Arid has this patent on an aluminum chlorhydrate formula. It fights wetness, and no leading deodorant spray stops odor better.
Get a little closer with Arid Extra Dry.
Arid fights wetness. No leading deodorant spray stops odor better.
Hey, Spidey, isn't Marvel's new Pizzazz magazine fantastic?
Fantastic, but not perfect.
But Pizzazz has the lowdown on Jaws, too, and more Sean Cassidy picks than his mother. It's sensational.
Sensational, but not perfect.
How about Pizzazz's Goofy Guide to TV? It's wild look at sci-fi movies. It's games, puzzles, comics. What could be more perfect?
Me on the cover, not the Hulk.
Pizzazz, the almost perfect new monthly from the off-the-wall gang at Marvel Comics.
It's okay if you don't understand what he's talking about. He probably doesn't either. It's BK on the air on AM 1450, FM 100.3, and online using the Tunein radio app.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. In the 1950s, Jerry Anderson began creating kids' shows for British television. By 1960, he developed the Western-themed Four Feather Falls, in which the characters were marionettes with special electronic lip syncing. Then, with the creative partnership of his wife Sylvia, the Andersons set out to appeal to a broader audience while adding more realism. This called for retro-futuristic sci-fi storytelling, along with highly elaborate sets and filming techniques. Their first of these was 1961's Supercar. It was filmed in what Jerry dubbed Super Marionation, short for Super Marionette Animation. In 1962 came Fireball XL5, which utilized blinkable eyes on the puppets. Improving on the characters even more came the 64 series and my personal favorite, Stingray. These guys came with switchable heads, one known as the Smiler and the other the Frowner. They also utilized glass eyes for even more, kind of creepy, realism. Stingray also has the distinction of being the first British TV show filmed entirely in color. These series all paved the way for what would be the Andersons' most successful of all, the Thunderbirds. I recently watched a fascinating piece on YouTube titled Thunderbirds 1965 Documentary. In it, they go about recreating some new episodes using all the original Super Marionation techniques. If you've watched these shows, or even if not, I know you would enjoy this documentary. This is Pat McCormick with your Retro TV Trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. And now back to BK on the Air.
Thank you, Pat. I'm glad that Pat talked about these Super Marionation shows that were on from Jerry Anderson, mostly in the 60s and the 70s and 80s. But growing up as a kid, before I went to school, I got to watch the Thunderbirds and Stingray, the two that Stingray, the one he mentions, was his favorite. But the Stingray was about a submarine. My sister were scared of those things. She watched those. She's like, those are like your action figures come to life, and I think it's scary.
I can
can't
see
watch
where
it.
some people be creeped out. That's why
I think it's great.
Movies like Child's Play.
Right.
If you got a creepy looking doll, sometimes you just go, "Ooh,
well,
that's creepy."
If you've seen Team America, the movie, that's what they're making fun of, is the old Super Marionation puppets that Jerry Anderson did.
Such an inappropriate movie and so fun.
And I can't play any sound bites from it.
Not a single one.
Not really, hardly. Well, maybe.
A handful.
I think they say the word "the" and in it, I think, and I can play that. So 770-386-1450 if you want to give us a call. I'll lead off with this story because it's kind of weird, and I know some problems have been plaguing the recent Indiana Jones production. Problems as in Harrison Ford getting
old
hurt
age
again, or Harrison. Don't say that; it hits a little close to home with us. Sometimes we're on the air and we forget words and we don't know what to say.
Probiotic.
You had a little episode earlier today about that, too. And you know what? Even I was on the way to station today and heard you forget the word, and I did what I'm sure everyone else does to me when I can't think of a word. I'm sitting there driving in the car, listening to you going, "It's probiotic!" But I'm not
because I could hear you through the radio because it's two-way.
Well, I was pretty close to the station. I had the window rolled down.
I do the same thing.
But here's the thing about forgetting something. You and I are to the point now, kind of, where we forget something, but we know what it is because as soon as we hear it, it's not like we've totally forgotten it.
Right.
Because when we hear that thing or see it, we're like, yes, that's what it is. I just couldn't recall it. Yeah. I couldn't bring it up out of that file in my filing cabinet in my head. I couldn't pop it to the front and bring it out.
And I have no idea. Why does your brain do like the word the pro was what was missing?
Yeah.
I kept going buy it. The thing in your gut, the bacteria, the gut, I could not remember pro. Had pro popped in my head, I'd be like, oh, probiotic. Gone.
You could explain exactly what it was by using every other way to explain what it was except the actual word.
Except for the word.
You knew exactly what you were talking about. I did that the other day with an actor. I knew exactly who this actor was. I'm like, who is that? I know who it is. Why can't I recall his name? I got to where I can look it up on IMDb and just know immediately. Give myself a few minutes.
I force myself not to go look it up. I'm like, no, I know it. What is that dark, fizzy drink? Atlanta's the headquarters. Got bubbles in it. It's been around forever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Good, refreshing, tastes good.
As soon as I say the name, you're going to go, yes. That's the one I was talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Tastes great. Taste the feeling.
770-386-1450. Someone's on the line now. Hello. Hey, it's Jeff.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Nothing much. Just fooling around on the radio for a couple hours like I do every Saturday. What's going on with you?
You're in for a treat today.
I'm in for a treat today. What? Oh, well, I love treats. What's the treat?
Me. I'm going to be downtown shortly.
You are? You're gonna come by the station and wave?
Yeah, I'll try to do that.
Will you do that? I appreciate that. You know, you came to our birthday anniversary this year, and I was unable to attend that, and I wasn't able to see you. So maybe I'll see you today. That's fantastic.
You'll see me. I'm going to wait on you.
All right, well, good. Do something funny so I'll know it's you. Do something crazy in front of the window or something. That's fun.
You sure you want to do that?
Yeah, because why should you be different from anybody else that walks by and look at me?
Well, we've seen what some people have done.
Yeah, we've seen. I don't know if you can top.
I can't unsee some of it.
So, yeah.
Well,
Never realized you could jiggle that much.
All right, Jeff, I'd look forward to seeing you. Talk to you later. Bye. Jeff's coming downtown. I don't know if we would be scared or concerned or happy. I guess we'll find out as time ticks along. Yeah, Harrison Ford got hurt on the Indiana Jones movie. We started talking about that earlier. And he lost his credit card. Remember that when some of the folks gave him his credit card back? A lot of weird stuff going on. They need to keep him away from airplanes anyway, you know, with his past with airplanes and things like that. Well,
doors.
Apparently, Walt Disney Studios has confirmed that an Indiana Jones 5 crew member has been found dead on location in Morocco. His name is Nick Kupak, who was part of the camera crew. He passed away in his hotel room, and his death did not occur on set, nor reportedly was it production-related. Kupak had only joined the crew fairly recently, working as a grip on the second unit team. The crew was specifically shooting in the city of Fes when Kupak, only 54, was found dead. The Sun first reported the news earlier this week, mentioning that he was thought to have died of natural causes. Now, Disney has since reaffirmed the news, although they were not able to announce the cause of death at the time. Quote, "Our hearts go out to the family and friends of Nick Kupak, an incredibly talented colleague and member of the film community who will be greatly missed." That reads a statement via the New York Post from Disney. His sudden passing was not production-related, unquote. Over the years, and I didn't know this because he's had a reputation on films. Over the years, Kupak built up an impressive resume, working on such films as Jurassic Park, as well as the Harry Potter and Star Wars franchises. And in the day leading up to his death, he was working on more than 100 crew members to prepare for the filming of a major stunt scene involving a rickshaw on Indiana Jones' fifth Indiana Jones film. The still untitled Indiana Jones 5 has faced a series of obstacles during its ongoing production, including several COVID-related delays, flight bans, and a severe shoulder injury, as we talked about, sustained by star Harrison Ford. Originally supposed to hit theaters in July 2021, then July 2022. The movie is now scheduled for release in the summer of 2023. They've pushed a lot of productions back again, even some of the Marvel films and some of the other things, and Indiana Jones was one of them that they pushed back yet again. So the guy worked on a lot of movies, so I thought that was interesting. It just wasn't a key grip guy who just passed away. He'd worked on a lot of films and had quite the resume. So it's weird when your movie gets bad press due to a problem or an accident. And I know that that recent accident on that film, was it with Rust with Alec Baldwin and the
yeah, there's a lot more to that though.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot coming out about that. But I was starting to think about some of the past movie accidents that I remember in the past, and one that came to mind most. Do you remember any? Do any stand out in your mind of any fatal movie problems?
Twilight Zone's probably the most, and The Crow with Brendan Lee.
Brendan Lee and John Eric Hexum, the actor, the TV actor that was on the TV show Voyagers, had an accident with a blank gun as well. But the one that came to mind is the one that came to mind with you, The Twilight Zone, with Vic Morrow and the two kids that were filming a helicopter scene that was supposed to be set in Vietnam. And the chopper, basically, there was an explosion on the set. It was supposed to be an explosion, but there was some kind of malfunction, and the chopper, I don't know what it was. It either got hit with debris or the rear, the little rotors on the back of a chopper that keep it from turning sideways, the stabilizer.
The rotor
went out, and it was out of control, and it fell. It actually fell on them. Him and the two kids,
well,
and I heard
it did more than that.
The blade, just it was a messy scene. When people go, well, they're not gonna keep filming on this movie called Rust because of the accident. Well, don't be so sure, because Hollywood may halt production, but they usually don't stop production altogether, because the Twilight Zone film was finished and released. They didn't stop on that. Now, granted, that was being filmed in 1982 and was released in 83, and it was a different world back then.
Right.
But sometimes Hollywood just it's an accident. They'll have an investigation, and there'll be whatever will happen, and then they'll probably, my prediction is, just move on with production and finish it, because sometimes Hollywood has, I know this sounds cold, but it's Hollywood.
Right.
They got too much invested in this production to not let it be released. But that was, Hollywood presses on. So I was just thinking about that with all the hoopla concerning the accident on the Alec Baldwin incident.
Yeah.
About other accidents. And the Twilight Zone is the one that always comes to mind. Speaking on there, we'll flash the audience with the news of the weird, the strange when we come back.
come you cook so many vegetables, Mom?
Well, someday I see a tall young man with broad shoulders.
Me?
You. And I do everything I can now to help you get there. Good food, rest, exercise, and also Chalk's vitamins with iron.
Iron?
Because you're growing, you need as much iron as your father. And these help make sure you get it.
I like Chalks. And you, Mom?
Chalks and Chalks Bugs Bunny with iron.
Mommy, I want a drink. Mommy, can I have a glass of juice, please? Give me some milk. I'm thirsty. Give me a glass of anything.
Wouldn't it be nice if your children could get their own drinks without interrupting you? With a Dixie kitchen dispenser, they can. And your kitchen won't be cluttered with between-meal glasses to wash. Get Dixie, the kitchen cup that lets kids help themselves. And that can be a big help to you.
Mommy, I got my own juice. Now can I have peanut butter sandwich?
To say that you behave childishly is an insult to children everywhere.
Yeah, baby.
There's a message from in the air, come from crazy horses riding everywhere.
Crazy horses. Playing this for you know, wake you up a little bit. I got a little challenge for Alan here before we go to Flash the Audience. You hear this song, Crazy Horses?
Yeah.
Crazy Horses.
Crazy horses.
Crazy Horses.
I can tell you this would not be in my recurring staple of music choice.
Yeah, but would you admit though that's kind of it's a rock song, obviously.
Oh, so
rock
yeah,
and roll. I mean,
it's
got to say
it's got a rock beat. Yes.
Do you want to try to guess who that is that sings that? And I want to just put you on the spot.
I have no idea.
You probably never heard the song.
Never heard that song in my life.
Okay, never heard it, but
Pat Boone.
I'm willing to. You know what? You're close. You don't know how close you are. A lot of people out there know who that is, but when I tell you who that is, you're going to get that. Huh? You're going to Scooby Doo look on your face like your dogs get. You know, sometimes. That is probably one of the last groups you'd ever think to do a song like that. And that's probably, they had a few rock songs in the 70s where they kind of switched gears and did some guitar-driven rock songs like that. I don't even know if I want to tell you or not because you may not believe me. That was the Osmond Brothers.
What?
That was Donny Osmond and the Osmonds with Crazy Horses from 1972. I told you, I love that song. I remember hearing it as a kid, and I'm like, that's the Osmonds? I can't believe that's the Osmonds. That's they decided to change their image up a little bit there in the 70s, the mid to late 70s. So. You're speechless, aren't you?
I kind of
Crazy Horses.
I am.
By the Osmond Brothers.
Wow.
Well, I just gave you the page, so you know what time it is for now.
Yeah, it's time for us to the audience of the weird, the strange, and the bizarre. And guess what? I have the very first news.
I'm still in Halloween mode. I mean, I was watching. I watched Gremlins the other day. I'm still kind of watching. I'm like, I can't. I'm like a car stuck in fourth gear. I can't get out of the Halloween and get into Thanksgiving. I got to get away from the horror and get more into Thanksgiving and family and turkey and stuff. So it's that transition I talked about at the top of the hour.
Yeah, well, you know what?
The show.
At some point, there is no wrong time to watch a movie you love.
There is, and with us, that's the truth, ain't it?
It's the truth.
You're watching Die Hard now? Yes. But it's February. Who cares?
Don't worry. I'll watch it again in December.
I will. I'll watch it again as many times as I want.
All right. So this from UPI. Police in Colorado said a bear broke into an unlocked car and left behind a trashed interior and an extra special surprise in the back seat.
Some honey? Baby cub?
No.
A bear broke into a car and left a surprise.
But you can ask the question if he does it in the woods.
Oh, does he do it in a car?
He made a poopy.
He did. Oh, that's a terrible surprise.
He made a poopy. The Aspen Police Department said the bear bandit apparently opened one of the vehicle's unlocked doors, climbed inside, shredded the seats.
Oh, that's
well, he was
bear,
he was creating
cow.
a sandbox.
Yeah.
He was shredding it all up.
He's getting ready to deposit something.
Yeah, the department said that should serve as a reminder to be bear aware and keep cars, homes, and trash secured from animals.
Wow. Well, good thing the bear walked away and goes, "Don't say I never gave you nothing." That's right. I love you. I got the next news.
Heard you were looking for fertilizer.
Fertilize that back seat.
There you go.
We can't buy enough Pine air fresheners to hang in the car to get rid of
There's not
this.
enough Febreze.
No, in the world. Fabric softener.
You just got to
nothing.
burn the car.
From UPI. Oh, Halloween leftover. Here's one right here. A California family's Halloween decorations prompted calls, another one, to 911 about a house on fire.
Uh-oh.
But the flames and smoke were merely a festive special effect. Carmen and Travis Long drew attention to their Riverside home on Halloween when passerbys confused the orange lights in their windows and fog from a smoke machine for an actual blaze. Wow.
That must have looked good then.
The displays prompted calls to 911 from concerned witnesses, but the local fire department was aware of the display and assured callers that it was all special effects. Firefighters were previously called to the Longs' home to investigate the 2020 version of the display. It's good to hear that they're consistent, which included a smaller scale fire effect. The Longs said the faux fire, like the rest of their Halloween display, was inspired by Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean amusement park ride. Carmen told WTVT-TV, it's just satin cloth, an orange light, and a red light, and a fan. That's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. The fire department said the Longs have a fire alarm system in their home that will alert the department if there's a real fire in the house. Well, thank goodness for that. To me, instead of being castigated for that, people that have that realistic of a thing should be awarded and applauded. Good job. That's what you and I think.
I do like that the fire department was well aware, like, oh no, fire at 123 Maple. Oh wait, 123.
No. That's
we're good.
Went to
we're
last
good.
year.
We're good.
But if it's an alarm, though, we'll go because they have an alarm system. So thank goodness for that.
I love when people get into the holidays.
If I
and
do
decorate
one that well, and someone calls on it, I'm like, oh, I must have been a good.
That's
good
really
job.
good. Yeah.
Or like a stripper skeletons on a pole dancing. Remember that one?
It's
I love
almost
that
like
one.
It's almost like that decoration was on fire. Yeah. All right, I've got the next news. A Welsh woman earned a Guinness World Record for her collection of 5,284 pieces of
Coke cans. No, we had that guy last week.
Maybe more than that.
Figurines.
Boy Wizard.
Oh, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter memorabilia.
Oh, there's another collector. That's a lot.
Yeah, Tracy Nicole Lewis of Glamorgan.
Whatever. That's good.
We'll go with Mid Glamorgan.
That sounds good.
Told Guinness World Records while drinking Guinness. No, Guinness World Records. She started the collection from J.K. Rowling's book series and the film adaptations in 2002, and her collection now includes special edition books, toys, keychains, illustrations, prop replicas, Lego sets, and more. Nicole Lewis, whose wedding was Harry Potter themed, said her collection takes up 3 whole rooms in her home. The previous record belonged to fellow Wales resident Victoria McLean, who amassed a collection of 3,686 items. So her collection is almost a full 2,000 items bigger than the previous world record holder.
Did you hear the latest Harry Potter rumor that I hear is going around? Now, the stage musical play or whatever that's going on called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child,
right,
which is actually a sequel continuation of the original characters, I hear.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that Chris Columbus is interested in doing the movie version of that and bringing the original cast back for a film.
I'd be curious what they do with it, because my whole family, it's the one thing I have not yet read. Everyone in my family, they've read the books multiple times. We know we've talked about it before. They all thought that The Cursed Child was a very weak, if not an unenjoyable experience. They were like, ooh.
Well, if they make a movie about it, they'll jazz it up.
So I'm curious what they'll do with it.
Because Jaws, to me, wasn't that great of a book. I mean, it was a great book. It was a good bestseller, don't get me wrong. But I thought, as a book goes, it's long, it's got a lot of boring parts in it. It's just written as a drama, which is what it was. But as a movie, they had to go, okay, this is a cinema thing. We have to jazz it up and make it
Now, it
cinema.
would be interesting, because Hollywood's going to do this. They're going to reboot Harry Potter at some point.
Oh, reboot it, yeah, or do this. That
they're
going to
go, okay, but now here's the hook. We get all of the actors from the original Harry Potter, and then they play the parents.
The professors.
Or the professors.
Yeah, right.
They'll be all the adults.
Sure.
And so they're the ones that had, we fought Voldemort. Now you kids are fighting the new version, whatever that is, and basically retell the story.
And you and I will watch it and go, oh, they're playing the professors now. God, we're old.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no, we're so old.
Yeah, Hermione's got wrinkles. Wait, what?
She won't have wrinkles for a long time. She's turned into quite the nice-looking lady. She really has. Emma Watson, isn't that her name?
Yeah, Emma Watson.
I got the next news. A Colorado man was arrested this week for setting his mom's house on fire. This is a real fire. After using a blowtorch. Guess what he did? You want to take a guess?
Try to kill bugs.
You're
spider.
close. He wanted to clear cobwebs.
That'll do it.
The sheriff's office said that.
They're all gone, aren't they?
John Charles Streckenbach, 39, was arrested on suspicion of first-degree arson. First degree? I thought it was an accident. Criminal mischief causing $20,000 to $100,000 in damages. Possession of a controlled substance. Oh, there we go. We got more to it. And violation of protection order, the Boulder Daily Camera reported. Fire personnel upon arriving could see smoke from the house and the roof of the single-story, single-family resident of the Boulder County Sheriff's Office in a press release. So he went after cobwebs with a blowtorch. It's overkill, people. Don't do it.
Wouldn't you just rather have the cobwebs?
Yeah, I mean, at least for Halloween. That'd be good.
Who you waiting for?
Ice Cream Jones.
And new ice cream cone cereal.
My name's Ice Cream Jones. I'm bringing the kids my ice cream cones. A crunchy new cereal for breakfast. The great taste of ice cream cones. Whoa!
I'll have vanilla.
Give me chocolate chip.
They look like little ice cream cones.
And taste like them. The crunchy part of this nutritious breakfast. My name's Ice Cream Jones. With the great taste of ice cream cones. New ice cream cone cereal.
My name is Mr. Bubble. Let me show you tons of fun.
You can be a bubble.
With Mr. Bubble.
You can have some bubble too.
With Mr. Bubble.
Or be a bobblehead.
With Mr. Bubble. I'm safe and gentle, and I make getting clean almost as much fun as getting dirty. Have a tub of fun with Mr. Bubble. He makes getting clean almost as much fun as getting dirty. Mr. Bubble.
When it comes to shows about movies and comic books, heroes and crazy news, I tune into PK on the air from 10 to noon Saturdays.
We're back, PK on the air. Some more Electric Light Orchestra to come back with here. There's a little guitar riff, acoustic guitar part of this song. It's called Fire on High from 1975 from their album Face the Music, which was used for a while in the 70s. Here's a sports tie-in for you. Here's the theme to the CBS Spectacular Sports Show. They used to have a show called CBS Sports Spectacular, and at one point they used the acoustic guitar riff of this song for the theme for that sports show, believe it or not, in the 70s. Now, when it comes up here in just a second, you might recognize it when the acoustic guitar gets going.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Because this is how the song opens. But when the CBS Sports Spectacular would play in the mid-70s or late 70s, you would hear this. Crazy acoustic guitar there by Jeff Lynne. And for a while there's a sports tie-in for you. I just engaged the alarm.
I was going to say, what happened to the alarm?
I knew I was going to say this and play this, so I didn't want the alarm to go off. So I kind of disabled it. I have the code where I can disarm the alarm.
Probably a good on this one.
Yeah, so, and I remember hearing that, that show would come on the Saturdays, and I'm like, oh, it's sports. Well, when the title sequence goes off, I'll turn it to something else. But when it played this, I thought, that's a pretty cool guitar sound. That's like the, what's the other one? The ABC Wild World of Sports?
The Wide World of Sports.
Agony of Defeat.
Yeah.
This is a great song. Well, guess what? I have one more, if I can get to it here. News. Flash to go.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
I've got one more.
I've got it.
I forgot. Yeah.
It's a Russian actor was. Oh, this starts off really bad.
This is a weird story. I don't know if you heard about this or not.
No, I hadn't. A Russian actor was crushed to death during a live performance at Moscow's famed Bolshoi Theater on Saturday.
That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yevgeny Kulish, age 38, somehow became trapped underneath the massive backdrop during a set change during the opera performance as actors and other orchestra unwittingly continued on with the act. One man on stage cries out after he realizes what happened. The music then slows to a halt while panicked actors frantically wave their hands for help. The stunned crowd gasps from their seats as the curtain is suddenly shut. Harrowing photos show Kulesh's crushed body below the set. He was declared dead by the time first responders arrived, according to Russian media. He had reportedly worked at the Bolshoi for 2 decades. The terrible accident occurred during a performance of Sadko, a 19th century opera by Russian composer Nikolai Korosakov. It is not yet known how Kulesh became trapped, but he is believed to have moved in the wrong direction during the set change, according to Russian reports.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, yeah, that's a
We
theater
build heavy sets here in Russia. You just be careful.
You had the last one, but I got a bonus news.
Uh-oh.
I found this one out, and I had to add it to the list here and sneak it in.
We need a pick-me-up after that
Yeah,
one.
this is a pick-me-up because it's kind of funny. From NBC News, Kellogg's, the cereal company, and they make a whole lot more, is being hit with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit alleging its, quote, whole-grain frosted strawberry, unquote, Pop-Tarts are deceiving customers, failing to warn them that strawberries are not its only fruit-filling ingredient.
Huh.
Strawberries are the product's ingredient since their amount has a material bearing on price and consumer acceptance, and consumers expect they are present in an amount greater than other fruits, unquote, the suit asserts. The product's common or usual name of whole-grain frosted strawberry toaster pastries is false, deceptive, and misleading because it contains mostly non-strawberry fruit ingredients, namely cheaper pears and apples, the suit said, a violation of state and federal consumer protection statutes. The plaintiff, Elizabeth Russet of New York, claims that she would have not bought the strawberry Pop-Tarts right, or would have only been willing to pay less than what she did had she known the truth. Yeah, if she'd known the truth, she got up to the cash register and went,
No, I'm not giving you $2.99 for those. I'm going to give you $1.99 for those.
Yeah. A similar suit was filed in August in Illinois. Spencer Sheehan, an attorney based on New York's Long Island, is representing both women. Kellogg's whole-grain frosted blueberry Pop-Tarts are also made with other fruits besides its namesake ingredient. In this case, apples and grapes. That's acceptable because those front labels are marked with naturally and artificially flavored, Sheehan said. He said Kellogg could add a similar disclaimer to its strawberry Pop-Tarts, such as marking it mixed fruit on the label or by including the percentage of each fruit. Consumers deserve to know what they are seeing labeled as strawberry. It mainly contains strawberry, Sheehan said. Words have to have some meaning. Food maker Kellogg told NBC News it does not comment on pending litigations.
Oh, my God. Who the hell cares?
Doesn't this remind you of the Hawaiian roll story about the guy who says,
these rolls aren't from Hawaii, and it says Hawaiian rolls. I'm suing.
Does that make you not like them as much as you did? You still like to eat them? I mean, what's the deal here?
I was under no assertion anytime I've eaten a Pop-Tart of any flavor that I was getting some kind of natural, healthy fruit derivative. I just assumed it's strawberry flavoring with sugar and frosting and a bit of a dough crust on the outside that, by the way, I still will eat.
Were you crestfallen as a kid when you finally discovered that bazooka gum didn't come from the barrel of a giant gun? Did that make you mad?
Honestly, I never thought of that, but maybe we should sue them
now. Lots of money for it. Lots of money.
They'll just pay us to go away.
Yeah,
I'll just take that.
Lots of money. Yeah.
Look, $100,000. We guys sign a paper that you won't sue us again.
Yeah, sure.
Fine.
If you order something from Amazon, are you upset that it's not coming from the Amazon?
I thought Wonder Woman was my. Why isn't she delivering?
I'm disappointed.
How many things could we do like that if you allow a suit like this to go on?
Remember we talked about that. You can sue for anything. Mm-hmm. The fact that you'll get something is a different matter, but the litigation and the process of going through it, we pay for that. We pay for all of that. Now, if the Pop-Tarts, Kellogg's has to pay something because this stupid. Oh, boy, did I almost say a word that would get me thrown off the air.
Isn't it hard?
It's this stupid lawsuit by this dummy, this big dummy. We're going to be paying more for Pop-Tarts or for cereal or whatever Kellogg's has, which is a lot. And I hate that. We'll pay for it.
Right. That's I taught my girls, I said, you know what? Don't ever buy cereal unfortunately, because it's such a good markup for the companies. Don't ever buy it unless it's on sale.
I hate that. Well, let's move to something lighter. Let's wash our brain out. When Mrs. BK watches a horror film that really upsets her, she has to watch a comedy to help her cleanse herself of that. When she was a kid, I think, early, like a freshman in high school. That's when she first saw The Exorcist on television one night, and it bothered her for a long time. She had to watch some Bugs Bunny cartoons, some Disney films. It took a lot to get that out of her system back then, and it still affected her to this day. Let's wash our brains out with this here from MovieWeb.com. We know Ghostbusters Afterlife is right around the corner.
I know.
To be released. We're going to look at that, and the trailers look great. You hear Bill Murray's voice in it. Annie Potts is in the latest trailer, which is cool to see that she's in there.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Rick Moranis is in there somewhere.
I found out Sigourney Weaver is in it.
She's okay, so good. So they aren't leaving people out, which is good. And we know Sigourney's great because she'll come back for these films. She's good about that.
The only person I don't know is Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I mean,
because he made a pledge he wasn't going to come back for anything he had retired from. But then you go, he did that commercial.
Right. And we know that the Annie Potts character was, at one point, little sweet on Egon.
Right.
But she was actually more sweet on Rick Moranis' character in the sequel, Ghostbusters 2, remember? Right. So wonder if they'll hit on where that went or what's going on with that.
It'd be interesting to see. I love how the fact they kept the original cast kind of under wraps until the cast members themselves said,
it's great.
We loved watching it. And you're like, okay, you watched it. Were you invited? Then you start getting little hints like, well, it was fun to be back in costume. Like, wait, you're in it?
Right. And I forgot, when I see the trailer and when they call the number at the end and someone answers and he goes, we're closed. Is that Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd's voice at the end? I can't tell which one. It's one of them. I think it's Bill Murray. I think it's Bill Murray's voice. But it's one of them. So it's going to be fun. Well, the reason I bring that up is, how'd you like to have a proton pack from Ghostbusters?
Would love
Hasbro can fix you up. You'll soon be able to personally answer the call with Hasbro's amazing Ghostbusters proton pack replica prop, inspired by the movie. At one-on-one scale, proton pack looks exactly like the one Egon Spengler used in Ghostbusters. Highly detailed and jammed with various features, the proton pack is now available to pre-purchase through a crowdfunding campaign, and it comes with a price of $399.99. It's $400 basically, but it's pretty darn detailed. The proton pack is also said to be modular and lightweight and shouldn't be quite as cumbersome as lugging around the actual proton pack Egon and pals used in the movies. It's much easier to carry this way, but also far less dangerous without a real nuclear particle accelerator included. Other screen-accurate details include the booster, power cell injectors, bumper, shock mount, and more. You can also open the Cylitron to explore the inner workings for the first time. So you'll be able to open it up and see it. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a picture of it on the. I mean,
it's
article.
Movie quality prop.
Yeah, it is, and they make them that way now. And gone are the days. How lucky are kids today? Gone are the days to have the toys or whatever that we had as kids.
Molded blue plastic.
That look terrible. It's like
1/3 the size. Wait a minute, this isn't the backpack.
Right, but now with 3D printing and technology, even the toys that they buy now from movies are so movie.
It's even distressed to look like you've been using the pack for a while.
They think about that. They really think about that.
This is cool. If I had $400, somebody want to crowdfund me, I'll buy one.
If you give me, complete your Ghostbusters cosplay.
I just need someone to loan me $400. Not loan me, give me. I don't want to give it back.
No, you can have your significant other dress up as Sigourney Weaver and be.
I would so do that.
That'd be great. Or better yet, be him and be her.
I want to dress her up
be Ripley.
as the Keymaster.
She could be Ripley.
No, Gatekeeper.
Oh yeah, that'd be good too.
The Gatekeeper.
So
the Gatekeeper.
Okay, so she's a dog.
Oh yeah.
Ghostbusters, we're ready to believe you.
There's a new cereal in the neighborhood with O's and ghosts.
Tastes real good. Ghostbusters.
Marshmallow ghosts, fruit-flavored O's. Ghostbusters taste great with milk and juice and toast. A nutritious breakfast with the ghosts.
Ghostbusters.
Fruit-flavored O's.
Ghostbusters.
Marshmallow ghosts.
Ghostbusters.
Hey, what are you gonna crunch?
Ghostbusters.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
You wanna go to the moon? Do you wanna go to the moon?
Why trust moments like these to anything else? Introducing Kodak Videotape. It captures the sights and sounds of every moment with color that's beautifully accurate, unmistakably Kodak.
Beam me up, Mr. Spark.
When the moment means more, tape it, and keep it on Kodak videotape.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Welcome to another edition of Star Wars Extra, bringing you the latest from the Star Wars galaxy. I'm Mike Mann.
Hello there.
This week, the official trailer for the highly anticipated The Book of Boba Fett series was released to much excitement within the Star Wars community, showcasing what is to come as the December 29th debut date quickly approaches. And in the span of just under 2 minutes, viewers quickly understand what executive producer Robert Rodriguez said, "It's going to blow your mind." The trailer itself way over-delivers with Easter eggs along with new breathtaking scenes as Boba Fett himself, portrayed by Tamara Morrison, is the first to explain the overall theme of his series as he tries to unite the criminal underworld, including Jabba the Hutt's former cadre, with the help of his trusted partner Fennec Shand, played by Ming-Na Wen. All in all, the Book of Boba Fett official first trailer is a masterpiece within itself, detailing so much within just under 2 minutes that delves into what is sure to be an instant classic in the ever-expanding story of the most notorious and elusive bounty hunter in the Star Wars universe.
I'm here for the armor. I don't want your armor. I want my armor. It belongs to me.
Also announced this week, shortly after the release of the Book of Boba Fett trailer, was the official confirmation that Jennifer Beals will be joining the cast of the series. Beals made her debut in the 80s classic Flashdance and has mostly recently starred in Showtime's The L Word and Generation Q. The established actress can be seen in the Book of Boba Fett trailer as a Twi'lek who appears to be of an underworld socialite stature. Fans will find out more about Jennifer Beals' character and more when the Book of Boba Fett debuts December 29th, streaming exclusively on Disney+.
I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy. Like my father before me.
Did you take the creed?
I give my allegiance to no one.
Last up, a look into the leaks, rumors, and probable spoilers from throughout this past week. 100% unconfirmed. Star Wars Newsnet leaked to the masses that trailers for the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor series, along with most likely The Mandalorian Season 3 as well. Mike Zero of YouTube fame reported that Jedi Master Mace Windu will make his way into The Mandalorian Season 4, the final season. Also reported that Master Windu returns to lead Ahsoka to Luke Skywalker, her former master's son. Samuel L. Jackson will be returning to reprise his role of Mace Windu, only much older, with a smoky eye and a robotic arm. And finally, Lucasfilm is allegedly going to give Maul his very own animated series, highlighting his time as the leader of his Crimson Dawn crime syndicate during the time of the Empire, until his second untimely death at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi, as seen in Star Wars Rebels.
I'd better knock, I suppose. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. Let's go back and tell Master Luke.
That's all the time we have this week. This episode was written by Droidlag Media exclusively for Star Wars Extra. Be sure to tune back in next week for the latest and greatest in Star Warsing. For Star Wars Extra, I'm Mike Mann. And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Mike Mann, for that trip into a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago. It's very interesting to hear that Jennifer Beals from Flashdance is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. So I'm actually looking forward to it. Did you see the trailer this week?
I did. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Sopranos of Star Wars.
It could be that. So it's going to
We're
be
going to see that
watch.
every society has an underworld.
Well, of course they do. How can they get by with that? We actually got, and I know that you didn't care for it, but you got to see a lot of that in Solo, a Star Wars story. You got to see that seedy
there is an underbelly
world of horrible way of living, like that. 770-386-1450 is our number. Somebody's on the line now. I think it's our wowzy woo-woo. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Barry.
Schleprock is calling from the Flintstones. He has that cloud over him that rain falls on him all the time. Are you in a good mood today, Eric, or a bad mood?
Keep on.
It's good to hear he's in a good mood.
You forgot. You didn't know which one was answering the phone at the end of the Ghostbuster trailer.
No, I'd kind of forgotten. It'd been a while since I saw the trailer, and I can't remember whose voice that is at the end. Whose is it?
What's wrong with you?
Who is it? Is it Bill Murray?
It's Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, it's Dan Aykroyd that says we're closed.
What's wrong with you?
Okay. Nothing. I just happened to forget it. I mean, I didn't make the mistake of thinking a celebrity was dead, like Bob Newhart. I didn't think that.
Look, this is
like you did.
3 Saturdays in a row I've had to correct you.
That's okay. That's what you're for. That's your job.
I don't.
You've actually
It's getting to be too much.
But you've taken on that role. When I do something wrong, you call me to correct me. So that's your volunteer position.
I got stuff I got to do.
Why? Hey, I didn't make you do it. You're a volunteer. You're a nice volunteer, and I appreciate it.
I'm a nice volunteer.
Yeah, you're very nice to be able to call in and do that. I appreciate it.
Well, you do it for free.
If we met.
Yeah, you're not charging me anything for doing it. But I am paying for it, though.
We are paying.
We do
for
pay, so one way or the other. So yeah, but yeah, I appreciate it though. Yeah.
I have a bone to pick about the Halloween show.
Okay, what bone do you have to pick with Halloween show? Is it a skeleton bone?
No, bro, just he mentioned The Fly.
Right, The Fly, David Cronenberg. Yeah.
Who would watch that as their first horror movie?
We were joking about that.
That was my question. I believe I called him out on that night.
For people that didn't hear it, we asked people to come up with a Halloween movie that you would suggest to someone that doesn't like scary movies. What would you suggest that they watch? And we came up with a list.
To dip your toe into that water.
Jeff Goldblum movie now.
Big Chill's pretty scary, man. You ever see that? Guess what, Eric? Alan and I both, we agree with you on that.
Yes.
Let's end the call on agreement.
What? That's a shock to my system. What?
No. I know it shocks you, but go away with knowing that you agreed with us. You agree with us. All right, bye. Talk to you later. So we agreed with Eric. If we can agree with him at the end of the call, I like ending it right there to make me feel better and him mull about it for the rest of the week.
I love Eric.
Now all week he'll go, I agreed with him. I can't believe it. All week I want to call him back next
I'm going to have to
Saturday.
self-flagellate. I'm going to have to Opus Dei.
That's right. No. So anyway.
I have to punish myself. I was bad.
We can end it on a good note.
Sometimes the things that pop into my head.
Self-flogging. That's terrible, by the way. Did you ever
self-flagellation?
Flogging and flagellation, that's two different things. Both of them are torturous. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see bringing up self-flogging, like whipping yourself on the back, like some of the monks and stuff do when they're punishing themselves? Did you ever see a movie called, I don't know why things hit my head like this, Name of the Rose with Sean Connery?
Yes.
Did you ever see
love that movie.
What a great movie that was. Very intense film.
Mm-hmm.
About the suppression of knowledge, and the way the church would go on back then. Christian Slater role too,
and kind of
a
great detective story.
It was a great. He was like Batman in that, or Sherlock Holmes. He was a great character. But that bringing up that self-flogging, they do that in the film, and it's painful to watch someone just flog themselves on the back with their own little whip instrument. It's terrible. I'm sure it has a name, but I just call it a whip instrument.
Always worried coming out of the confessional that I was so bad. It's like, how many Hail Marys? No. You're going to have to flog yourself. Wait, what?
Speaking of there, I may have to do that today after this show.
In Japan, the hand can be used like a knife. But this method doesn't work with a tomato. That's why we use the ginsu. It's a knife that no kitchen should be without. The ginsu can cut a slice of bread so thin you can almost see through it. It cuts meat better than an electric knife and goes through frozen food as though it were melted butter. The ginsu is so sharp it can cut through a tin can and still slice a tomato like this. It can chop wood and still remain razor sharp. What's more, it's a knife that will last forever. You get the ginsu knife, the matching carving fork, the versatile 6-in-1 kitchen tool, a set of 6 steak knives, and the spiral slicer. You get them all, guaranteed in writing for 50 years for only $9.95. It's the most incredible knife offer ever. Here's how to order.
Call toll-free 1-800-835-2246 or save COD charges by sending $9.95 to Ginsu, Box 6688, Chicago. You get the Ginsu knife, matching carving fork, 6-in-1 kitchen tool, 6 steak knives, and spiral slicer. This is the original Ginsu, the only knife offer with a 50-year guarantee. Don't accept imitations. Order now.
Give it up! Podcast Magazine presents the Hot 50 Countdown.
Hi, it's Rob Actis, host of the Podcast Magazine Hot 50 Countdown. Join me as I count them down from 50 to number 1, the top 50 podcasts in the land as determined by you, the podcast fans. From true crime, society and culture, self-help, health and fitness, science, and every podcast category in between. The Hot 50 Countdown is here.
And don't forget to vote for BK on the Air as one of your favorite podcasts at podcastmagazine.com.
BK on the Air on AM 1450, FM 100.3, and online on the Tunein radio app. Now, back to a guy who'll make you feel really young, mostly because he's so old. It's BK on the Air.
We're back. It's BK on the Air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. Little Hall of Notes there. You'll understand here in a minute while I play that. Today is November the 6th. We'll do a little On This Day in History. 1945, the first landing of a jet on a carrier takes place on this day in history, and I had no idea it was that.
It was
long
a
ago.
jet?
In 1945 on the USS Wake Island when an FR-1 Fireball touches down on that aircraft carrier for the first time. They had jets in World War II. They just didn't use them a lot in combat yet. The Germans had a Messerschmitt jet that was very fast, and we had a Bell jet, but they just weren't. They wouldn't fly long enough. They ran out of gas too quickly.
Think that
But yes, 1945 we had jets. They were just in their infancy.
And I know a lot about planes, and I didn't know that.
1973, the James Bond film On This Day, The Man with the Golden Gun, started filming with Roger Moore on this day in history in the UK, which is interesting. We had a lot of James Bond going on not too long ago because of the opening of No Time to Die, the last film with Daniel Craig. 40 years ago on this date in 1981, you just heard it, Private Eyes by Daryl Hall and John Oates. This week was the number one song. As a matter of fact, it starts tomorrow. It will be the number one song on November the 7th, replacing Arthur's theme by Christopher Cross.
It's always weird. I just feel like they're watching me.
Well, we have one that does a show with us.
Yeah.
So he's watching us. I don't know if he's checking us out, but he checked us out first. And
Private
still
Eyes.
hangs around with us. Great song, too. Great album, by the way. In 1990, a fire destroys some of Universal Studios sound stages. Now, we talked about the fire at the Paramount Studios in 1980, what was it, 84 or 83. Yeah, hey, there's Jeff outside the studio. How you doing, buddy?
He's enjoying a live show now.
I need to put some
It
pipes.
was still live coming from his radio, but now it's live because he can look.
Pipes on his chair, like some mufflers, where he can press the button and the flame shoots out like in the movie Grease.
Just get
That
the.
would be great.
What you need is the Harley rumble.
Right. You want that noise so people can hear him going by.
What is
So
it like
that's great.
when Grease Man used to talk about the powerboat? Bleedy blah 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 blah.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, Jeff. Keep on trucking, man. He needs a radio on there, too, CB radio. Yeah, Universal Studios, I forgot, caught on fire in 1990 on this day in history. You got to be careful on the studio. Some of these almost destroyed Paramount. A lot of sound stages were damaged in 1984 when they were filming Star Trek 3. And here's one for Alan. In the year 2001, this TV drama series premiered with Kiefer Sutherland. It was 24.
24.
On Fox. Premiered in 2001. On this day in history.
For me, changed the way television would be watched, and so many people would copy that sort of cliffhanger episode, keep you watching, and you didn't realize it would lead to binge watching when you would go back and like, oh, I just wish I could watch them all at once.
Oh, yeah. And birthdays today, too. Today is Jonathan Harris's birthday.
Never fear, Smith is here.
Oh, you bobble-headed booby robot.
He was also the voice of the...
He was the praying mantis in A Bug's Life.
Was it a praying mantis or a stick bug?
He was the praying mantis, I think.
The praying mantis, okay.
That wore the
and he was with a little turban.
Yeah. I'm a performer.
We're here to put on the show.
One of the last things he did. By the way, he came up with every little thing that he called the robot on Lost in Space. He came up with these little things. You bubble-headed booby. You tin-plated ninny. He came up with hundreds of those, and he wrote them. He said he'd think of one at night and wake up and write it down on a pad. And he came up with every one of those, I heard, by the way.
What an interesting
He was great.
character.
You know, he was on an episode of, I know you did an interview with Damon Wilson, Lamont from Sanford & Son on your Wilder Ride coming up. Jonathan Harris was on an episode of Sanford & Son once as an antiquities collector.
Oh.
And he showed up to buy something from Fred, and he was working with another guy to rip them off. That's what it was. He was doing something bad. But he's been in a lot of stuff, and he's got one of those voices that you identify immediately. It's so proper the way he talks. Mm-hmm. He's an interesting story about him in Lost in Space. I think Pat McCormick talked about this. When he went in for the role of Dr. Smith.
The day that I was hired by a very talented man named Irwin Allen, a strange, talented man who was humorless, totally without humor. My then agent, whose name escapes me at the moment, called up one day, 1962, and said, Irwin Allen is doing a television series at 20th Century Fox. I said, who is Irwin Allen? You don't know? I said, no, I don't. Lost in Space is the name, and he wants to see film on you. I said, what's the part? Well, I don't know, said Mr. 10%. I said, well, then you tell Mr. Allen that I hesitate to show film unless I know what the part is. Oh, well, he's not going to like that. And I said, him. That's exactly what I said. He called back in about 10 minutes. Irvin Allen wants to know who the hell you think you are, and he'll see you at 4 o'clock. And there was a secretary. Her name was Margaret. And she said, in there. So I walked in there. I was already terrified. Who do you think you are? No film. Well, Mr. Allen, I said, why would you want to see possibly the wrong film when you can see the real thing? Me. Irvin said, oh, you want to be in this series? Now, this is verbatim. I said, well, I don't know. I haven't read a script. Somebody give him a script. Somebody gave me a script. I was holding a script. I don't know where it came from. And I said, may I ask, Mr. Allen, who is in this piece? He said, I know where you're going. We've already done the pilot. You were not in it. Your character was not in it. I said, oh, may we discuss billing? Ah, billing. Everybody's billed. Everybody's billed. It's already contracted in the contracts. You'll have to be last. I said, I'm afraid I would not be comfortable that way. Well, somebody make him comfortable. But really, he said, you go home and you read those scripts that you've been given. And you call me up and solve this billing problem. I'm busy. Out. I was determined not to back out or fall down, but I almost did. I was like that. A strange man. In my whole career, I never experienced anybody like that. I went home, read the scripts, 2 they had given me. I liked them. I thought, not that I liked them. I thought, this is good. This is going to work. And it's a marvelous part. This villain, terrible villain. The part that I was given to play was a terrible spy villain. Already we were in trouble because I hated him. I not only hated him, but I said, 5 shows and I'm out. They're going to have to kill me. I said, this man he's hideous because it got progressively worse, you see. And I don't want to do that because they'll fire me. They have to. I called my friend Jimmy, who was head of casting at NBC. Thank God. And I said, did you ever give billing, special guest star, every week? Did you ever give billing like that when you cast a series? He said, what are you, crazy? Of course not. There is no such billing. Nobody gets billing like that. I said, that's all I need to know. So I called Irwin, and I said, I've solved your billing problem. Yeah, well, talk fast, busy. I'm busy all the time, you know. I said, I will accept last billing. Special guest star, Jonathan Harris, every week. Well, you should have heard him. I never heard such cursing and screaming. And you stupid bastards, none of you can act anyway. You're not a good actor. None of you are a good actor. I don't have to put up with this crap. I just sat there. And on and on and on, and then, okay, and he hung up. I laughed for about a week.
Every time Lost in Space comes on at the beginning, it says, special guest star, Jonathan Harris.
Huh.
On a TV show, believe it or not.
Well, they do it now.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of them do it.
Fields. Today's Sally Field's birthday today. Forrest Gump, Gidget, Flying Nun, Smokey and the Bandit. Great actress. Won an award for Sybil, playing the girl with the multiple personalities, that TV movie she won a lot of acclaim on. Awesome actress. One of big romantic thing with Burt Reynolds for a long time. Dated Burt for a long time. He still, till the day he was old, we did interviews saying she was the love of my life and I lost her. Mm-hmm. And he was very upfront about it. Today is also Glenn Frey's birthday from the Eagles. Glenn Frey. He had some singles like The Heat Is On. Didn't he do a song from Miami Vice? That was from Beverly Hills Cop, right?
Smuggler's Blues.
But Heat Is On was from Beverly Hills Cop.
Correct.
And
Smuggler's Blues was
I keep
the
forgetting, he died in 2016, not too long ago. He passed
Miami
away.
Vice.
So I got to see the last. I don't know if it was the last one he was in, but I got to see Stacey and I went to see the Eagles.
The Hell Freezes Over tour.
No, we actually saw them in the 2015 or before he passed away. We saw him at Chastain Park in Atlanta.
Oh,
it was
cool.
a pretty good show. Joe Walsh was with him and everything, and they did Joe Walsh songs with Eagles songs too, which was great. Today is Lori Singer's birthday. American actress from Fame and the the Visitors miniseries about the lizards. She was in Footloose, the original Footloose too. Lori Singer. Today is Emma Stone's birthday. Emma Stone. Remember who she is?
No.
She played in The Amazing Spider-Man. She played in Zombieland. The girl from Zombieland that the guy falls in love with. Girl with the gun in Zombieland. You remember Emma Stone? 'Cause she's in the new Cruella movie. Disney's Cruella.
It's just not sticking.
She's easy on the eyes. It really is. And this week, a celebrity had a birthday, and he turned 67 years old. And I swear he doesn't look a day over 66. Godzilla's birthday was this week. He's 67
He keeps
years
getting
old.
bigger and stronger.
Well, he juices or something. I
He
mean,
must.
he really works out because he goes from this little cute little monster with pretty cute eyes to this really mean-looking. I mean, he's got an attitude now.
There's something.
You can only shoot at him so many times with missiles and stuff, and he starts to get really mad.
He's like, I'm not taking it anymore.
But he's 67 years old this week. Happy birthday to Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Go Godzilla. I love that song. We played that. We're like, it's a Godzilla song and it's a rock song. I can't believe it. And they'd play the video of Godzilla had clips from him in their music video, which I thought was good. It's always National Something Day every day. I know a lot of people don't care about this, but I think it's fun because they come out with these, they make these national days just to make you aware of stuff, and I think it's fun that they do that. A lot of people go, oh, I hate putting what national day it is. It's stupid. I'm like, I don't think it's stupid. That's why I like putting them up there of the ones that I like. Today is one that you and I can enjoy very much so, and we don't have to do it today. We can do this any day. It's National Nachos Day today.
Ooh,
yeah, big old thing of nachos. Have some chips. And you know what? There's kind of no wrong way to make it. It's only personal preference with nachos. I don't mind loading it up with stuff, but man, is there anything better than just a nice new? You get the chips that are freshly out of the oven and they're still hot and they got salt on them, and you start putting those toppings on it and dipping them and just start crunching on them nachos.
And you're right, there is no wrong way. Like in the summer, before it's too hot, just sitting outside with like a fresh garden salsa.
Yeah,
you've got that. Maybe you've got an adult beverage, enjoying the sunset.
Chopped up jalapenos on there with some ground beef seasoned with some pepper, whatever you want, however you want to make it.
Oh yeah, you can
I don't want lettuce on mine. That's fine.
As stuffed or as unstuffed as you want. But yes, you're right.
They're so good. They're so good.
I can't say no when I go to the Mexican restaurant to the chips and salsa.
No, why would you? You're not supposed to.
Like I can say no to bread. Like when I go to like the Italian, like here's some bread. I'm like, well, I want to eat my food. Yeah. I'm not going to eat just bread. But you bring me chips and salsa, I'm eating it.
You know what my problem is, though, at the Italian restaurant? I don't say no. I say, yeah, I'll eat the bread.
I'll eat that.
When it comes to food, it's hard to me to say no, and you can see why, because that's why I have all this insulation and I'm hot all the time.
And the dessert.
That's why I don't put a real heavy coat on until it gets below 50 degrees outside. Same with Walt in the darkness.
Yeah.
We seem to be a little insulated, you know.
Walt, though, was always that guy just wearing shorts and a pullover in the middle of a snowstorm.
He'll leave shorts on long past the line that I've passed. I'm like,
he gets mad when he has to wear socks.
I'm like, Walt, we're going up Mount Everest. We've got to put on some layers now. We're going to climb that hill.
Well, the wind chill, I'm starting to feel it in my calves.
Yeah,
like your calves.
It's minus 30 now, so I really need to put on a sweater or something. I need a cup of coffee. It's minus 50. Let me ask you this. If it's minus 100 degrees Celsius, which is cold.
Celsius would be super cold.
What's the difference between 100 degrees below zero and 300 degrees below zero? Is there really get to where does it really matter?
At some point, matter just stops moving.
But I mean, does it? But doesn't it get to reach a point where I don't really care? It's just cold and you're going to die.
Just how fast it kills you. 3 seconds, 10 seconds.
That's right.
I know
Instant
the difference.
Freeze.
Whenever I feel like a great tasting meal, I go back to Del Taco again.
And you'll come back for our new Big Del Burrito. It's bustin' with natural cheddar cheese, savory beans, pure sour cream, lettuce, tomato, and spicy beef. Big Del Burrito. It's the biggest value in town.
Del Taco's hot stuff, I just can't get enough. So I'm back in Del Taco again. Hot stuff.
Good taste. What is good taste? Let me put it this way. If you've got it, you don't have to shout it. And you certainly don't show it like this. In coffee, good taste is a subtle thing, a blend of rich flavor and long experience. And once you've found it, nothing else will do. Maxwell House ground coffee, always good to the last drop.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into
the BK on the Air zone. Hey, it's BK on the Air. Sorry, I just had to do that. The only thing that differs from me and Rod Serling is I'm not smoking a cigarette. He usually stands there with his little cigarette in his hand and getting ready to open the Twilight Zone episode that he's about to open. This is another leftover from Halloween. I have a story here from MeTV that I thought was very interesting. The Twilight Zone, the show, did you know that it eerily predicted the death of its most frequent actor that was in more episodes than anybody else? It certainly had its favorite guest stars, the Twilight Zone it did. Burgess Meredith and Jack Klugman both headlined 4 memorable episodes, and William Shatner was in 2 episodes too, by the way. One of the most popular episodes, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. But those TV legends do not hold the record for the appearances in the fifth dimension. No, that honor goes to a relatively unknown performer. His name was Jay Overholtz, was the actor's name. Ohio native Overholtz pops up in some form in 8 different episodes from the original series. He's there from the very beginning. In the first episode, playing a reporter in Where Is Everybody episode. He's a passenger on the Odyssey of Flight 33 and a cowboy in the episode Showdown with Rance McGrew. Now, his voice alone can be heard in both the episode 22 and the episode Static. He must have been a pal of Rod Serling or something, as Overholtz also found work in other screenplays by the writer, including installments of a local Cincinnati series from the early 50s called The Storm, as well as the CBS anthology series Playhouse 90, which I've heard of but never saw an episode of that. But we're going to focus on 2 particular Twilight Zone episodes featuring the familiar face of Jay Overholtz. The episode A Thing About Machines and the episode called The Jungle. The former must have made quite a mark on Stephen King because the killer car plot is quite similar to Christine, believe it or not. At the end of the story, after the protagonist plot, Bartlett Finchley, played by Richard Hayden, has been run down by this suspicious vehicle. A police officer and an EMT ponder the death of the poor victim. Overholtz plays the ambulance man as seen in the episode. Now, the Jungle episode, a season later, featured a man under the hex of a curse. At one point, the bewitched fellow, who was played by John Diner, discovers that his taxi driver, Overholtz, the actor, is dead. The image of Overholtz slumped over in the front seat takes on an even eerier air when you learn what happened to the actor. In 1966, the 42-year-old was killed in a head-on collision. The accident occurred in Los Angeles when Overholtz was hit. The other driver was charged with vehicular homicide. That little anecdote comes from an old fan site cataloging the many untimely deaths surrounding the sci-fi suspense series. In total, 18 actors from the series The Twilight Zone perished from untimely deaths. Now, such statistics can likely be pulled from any anthology series with such a sprawling cast, but the nature of the series of The Twilight Zone makes it just a little bit creepy. Now, that was a story that I was going to say for Halloween, but our Halloween show takes on such a life of its own, and it was chugging along at a zombie pace, which today is a fast pace because zombies are fast now. They're not old and
that's actually
slow
scarier.
And lumbering anymore. Our show took on such a life of its own Halloween night that I didn't get to that story. But I think that's a very eerie story about that Overholtz actor like that. So, and again, we talked earlier about the Twilight Zone. The movie was played, with that problem too. So sometimes there's just a black cloud over some productions. The Poltergeist series was no stranger to that kind of stuff.
Because the death of Carol Ann, but she had it like it's not appendicitis, but something like that just got misdiagnosed.
Right. Well, her and also the teenage girl
got killed by her boyfriend, strangled.
From the first film, we never saw her again after the first film. I don't even think they explain in Poltergeist 2 where she went.
She's barely in the first one anyway.
I don't know if they ever said anything about it. But I heard a production. There was a production accident, or someone broke their leg falling off a ladder in the first film, Poltergeist. So there's another weird thing. Who knows if they're coincidences or has something to do with the subject matter. I want to switch to amusement parks and amusement parks right here because I had this story too, and I didn't get to talk about this last weekend. But I don't know how many people have been to Universal. Have you been to Universal Studios in Florida before, ever?
Before, yes, when I was in the Navy back in 91.
Do you remember when you were there if they had the 4D Shrek ride? Do you remember riding the Shrek ride? Okay,
Nope.
So they hadn't even have it yet. Well, guess what? You're never going to get to ride it now because they're getting rid of it.
Aw.
It's kind of long in the tooth. Universal Orlando has announced that Shrek 4D will end, and its gift shop, Ye Old Souvenir Shop, will end and close on January the 10th of 2022 to make way for a new experience. Now, we don't have any more information of what they're going to replace it with at this time. It opened in, what did you say you were at Universal?
1991.
So Shrek opened in 2003. So that's when they opened this show.
Missed it.
Here's what it replaced. Here's what it replaced, because a ride there always replaces something. Shrek replaced Alfred Hitchcock, The Art of Making Movies, which I wish was still there because I would love to see that.
I saw
that. Would be fun. So
that
you got
was
to
cool.
visit that. The attraction is set immediately after the events of the first Shrek movie. This will mark the second closure of Shrek 4D at Universal Park as Universal Studios Hollywood closed theirs in 2017. That's the same year we were out there, but we didn't go to Universal while we were out there. You can stay tuned to Inside Universal, the website, Inside Universal, which I found out a lot of news from them. Keep checking with them, and I'm sure they'll be the first people to break whatever they replace Shrek with. By the way, the Back to the Future ride I wish I had seen because it was gone. The first time I went to Universal, I missed that, and you may have seen that.
That was the big ride, and I went on that. That was really cool.
I didn't see the Back to the Future ride because it was replaced with The Simpsons. It's the same spot. So they always replaced it with something else. Now, the Terminator ride is gone. And now it's the Bourne Stunt Spectacular, which I hear is great, by the way. They always replace something depending on how popular it is. I'm still to this day upset that the Jaws ride was taken out. I thought Jaws is timeless. It should have always been there. If they wanted to do anything, they could have updated it a little bit more and made it a little more, I don't know. They could have left it like it was. It was so classic. Some things are just classic when you leave them alone. And I think it's still in Universal Hollywood. You can still ride the Jaws ride out there, but I'm not sure.
It would have been cool to update the mechanics to make sure it operates a little bit more fluidly.
Right. But it was pretty good the way it was. I mean, it scared people that
just
scared
to have
young and
the
old.
Same show where you can watch where you're out there and also like, the tram's stuck, and then you see the guy in the rowboat. You guys okay over there? And
right,
gets knocked over in the water, and then the shark pops up and sprays water on you.
By the way, that's what they are doing with Revenge of the Mummy ride, which is based on the Brendan Fraser Mummy films directed by Stephen Sommers. They have, I don't know if it's closed yet, but they're closing it down and going to redesign it, and it's still going to be the Mummy ride. So that's good to hear because it's one of my favorite rides there, which is great. Let's continue the talk about rides. Listen, did you hear about this from Fox News? Disneyland guests were trapped on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride on Halloween. They were trapped on it.
If you're going to pick a time to do it.
Brian Rocos, 59, from Riverside, California, told Fox News he was visiting Disneyland Sunday night and decided to ride the popular Pirates of the Caribbean just before 6 p.m. Rocos, a crime and public safety reporter who wrote about his experience for his local publication, told Fox that right at 6 p.m. on Halloween night, the boat had stopped. He said it was no big deal at first. Rocos said he felt like it was unusual after about 10 minutes going by. By 20 minutes, he thought, okay, something's really wrong here. He said it was, as an annual pass holder, he's never been evacuated from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. However, he said he had to get off other malfunctioning Disneyland rides before, including Pinocchio's Daring Journey and Alice in Wonderland. After 30 minutes of the ride being stopped, Rocco said the lights were all turned on and the animatronics and audio were mostly turned off. In another area of the room, some of the animatronics continued to move, which I probably pretty creepy.
That'd be a little surreal.
It's Halloween.
Well, you got fluorescent lights, and you're seeing all these things doing their thing.
Despite the long wait and the noise, Rocco said everyone remained calm, including a young boy who started playing a video game, of course, and a baby who slept through the entire ordeal.
That's good.
Around then, announcements were being made over the intercom asking Disneyland cast members to assist with the broken ride. Eventually, Rocco said 2 cast members and rubber waders came into the room in the water and started pushing the boats to a place where riders will be able to get off the boat safely onto dry land. As the riders exited the rides, Rocco said they went backstage and got to see behind the scenes of the ride where they were wooden planks holding up facades and stuff kind of just laying about here and there, unquote. So, and that was, to me, that would be interesting to see that because I'm always interested in how they work. And that in itself, I wouldn't want that because I like the mystique of the ride. But if I got to see that, that'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't think that would be too bad. The Harry Potter ride broke down earlier this year at Universal, and several people were left hanging almost upside down for almost an hour in one of their rides. I don't know if I want to hang upside down for an hour. Blood might rush to my head, and I might start
taller when I came
might really seeing dragons and people on brooms. Speaking on there, I see that anyway.
So you mean this map shows everyone? Everyone? Everyone. Where they are, what they're doing, every minute of every day. Brilliant!
Bubblicious. It's the ultimate bubble. Bubblicious. It's the ultimate bubble. Soft and juicy. It's the ultimate bubble. So delicious. It's the ultimate bubble. It's the ultimate bubble. Bubblicious.
Dragon's Lair, a fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles. In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the Dragon's Lair. Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
Hold on, everybody. Here it comes.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the show, or like me, born in the 60s, grew up in the 70s, and graduated high school in the early 80s, you know exactly what that's from. That's a little Willy Wonka music there from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Why do I play that? Because I have a story here from foodbeast.com, of all places.
Say that very carefully.
Food Beast.
Right. I thought you said it was Boo Beast, and I was like, Boo Beast?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay. That would have been a better website.
What's on your mind, Mr. Sanders?
Scares and Beasts.
Oh, Boo. Okay, got you.
Boo Beasts.
And by the way, I got something else to ask you when I do this story. You know the Creamer International Delight, the creamer you can put in coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They announced that they're going to have a Willy Wonka inspired coffee creamer flavors coming up, and I think
like
that's
chocolate.
Well, because you do the Wilder ride, which is basically you guys talk about Gene Wilder movies, and we've done that a lot. They're an expert when it comes to sweetening up your morning coffee, whether it be through actual coffee creamers or iced coffee. They're offering unique flavors to awaken our senses daily. Just trust them, they are. Their newest flavor lives up to their sweet factor by enlisting Willy Wonka himself. This time around, International Delights has partnered with Warner Brothers Consumer Products to debut a Wonka-inspired coffee creamer called Whipple Scrumptious Fudgy Caramel Creamers.
Huh.
Say that real fast. I can't. Available in both traditional and zero sugar varieties. Willy Wonka would have a heart attack. There's no sugar in that. What's
the point?
What's that all about? The new Wonka-themed creamers will be available at major retailers nationwide around January of next year, so look for them. To continue on the Wonka vibes, International Delights, this is great. They will be launching a golden ticket search in 2022 where a lucky few will be able to win exclusive prizing, including a year's supply of creamer with the golden ticket.
Almost makes me want to try creamer again.
Nothing wrong with that, just to see if you get or just whoever knows uses it and check it for you.
Just buy it. Say, here, I didn't win. Here you go.
Like I don't want my coffee. I just want to drink it. Oh.
I just want to have a factory of workers all going through them one at a time, opening them up.
And you want it now.
And you give them an extra $2 an hour, and they actually turn the ticket over. Who would do that? I'd be like, it's going in my pocket.
Bad parents.
It's going in my pocket.
Bad parents.
As I walk out, I'm saying, I quit. I can't take this anymore. And then I'm going on the Wonka ride. I'm not turning it in.
I want you to give a good plug about the Wilder ride that's coming up. You guys got a guest coming up that really fits the template of this show. Well, it fits the template of this show, but he's a classic television star from Sanford & Son. Tell everybody who you guys coming up on the podcast, The Wilder Ride.
We were able to interview DeMond Wilson, who played Lamont in Sanford & Son. He's done other things. But he's written some books. He's actually become a minister, or at least affiliated with the church.
Right.
He's got a children's book he's working on. But we talked about his early work in first the Apollo Theater as a dancer. Actually started his very first things as radio. I didn't know that. As a 4-year-old, he was doing radio spots.
And we all know he was a dancer because there's a few Sanford Son episodes where he dances, and he does it very well.
He said, I learned very early, and it was very much a hard work, like his message was, I learned to be a multiple threat, that if you told me I'm not going to be able to act in something, well, I can dance, and I can sing, and I can do voiceover, and I can direct, and it was very much, I didn't sit still. I always wanted to learn something.
I don't know if he hit on it during your interview because we haven't heard it yet, but he was also a veteran as well.
We did talk about that. Served in Vietnam, 66 through 68. Actually was discharged with shrapnel, got wounded with a shrapnel. He just said, I don't want to talk a whole lot about it, just I got some shrapnel and came home.
And there's a great tie-in, sort of, with Gene Wilder, like a 6 Degrees of Separation, because he was actually in an episode of All in the Family with Cleavon Little, who is in Blazing Saddles as two thieves that break into the Bunker's house in All in the Family, and they're together, and they encounter Archie Bunker and family.
I think you're going to enjoy what he thought of Cleavon Little.
Good, because he was. I've heard a lot about him, and I'm looking forward to hearing what he had to say about that stuff. I'm sure Walt was just flying because I know Walt's a huge, like me, Sanford and Son fan. I mean, it was great.
I had to remind myself that you get to a certain age, like with this character, like you've lived long enough that you're just going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. It didn't matter how much we were trying to. At one point, Walt and I were texting. I'm like, I'm just going to let him go, and Walt's like, probably best.
Well, you know what's good is you and I are inching toward being like that. We're eventually going to be there. I mean, me quicker than you, but I find myself getting that way.
It bordered on, I don't want to say rude, but it bordered on, why are you doing this? Why are you like? But it was fun. It was really cool to be able to have him on and talk about his experiences.
We know either through texting is worse when you're texting or emailing. The intention of someone, you never can understand their intentions through a text or an email because they may not be mad at all, but you're taking that way. Zoom interviews are becoming, audio interviews are kind of coming that way too, because if he was in the room talking to us, who knows what you might have thought. He might not have been really that way.
Well, and here's this is the thing that kind of, I don't want to say it was a bad thing, but it kind of set the wrong tone. He wouldn't turn the camera on because then he said he would have to charge us because that's his image. Like, well, we don't use your image. It's like we're just using it to be able to see each other via the call. We're only keeping the audio.
Was he being tongue-in-cheek funny, I guess? Could he just been really kind of goofing around with you?
No.
You didn't think that?
No.
He might have been playing you a little bit. I don't know.
And there may have been that. Like, I'm going to mess with these black boys. I don't
think that surely he wasn't serious about that part. Wow.
But put it this way, there's going to be a lot of outtakes.
Well, good. I look forward to hearing. And I look forward to hearing.
I don't think the outtakes will make it in the episode.
I look forward to hearing some, since I know you, that you let me hear some. That would be nice too, because I have the inside thing on the Wilder Ride guys. So that's kind of cool.
It was a fun interview. I'll say that though. No matter what, it was a fun interview.
Well, I don't know what he said about Red Fox, but a lot of people were pro or con Red Fox. Believe it or not, the way he could be on the set about ad-libbing a lot and not towing the line when it comes to lines on the show and things like that, and took a lot of liberties. Now, Jonathan Harris, Dr. Smith, who we said earlier on his birthday today, there's an interview with him where he talks about being really good friends with Red Fox. Of all people, Jonathan Harris is friends with Red Fox, and he had a lot to say about him. And he goes, "Oh, he was a dreadful man, but I loved him. I loved him dearly," because he said Jonathan Harris is a very proper rehearsal actor. He goes, Red Fox showed up on the set 5 minutes before we were supposed to go on, and that's when we did it. And I hate that. As an actor, I really hate. I like to rehearse, and comedians don't rehearse, and I hate that. So I heard Red Fox could be that way.
One of the things you could tell is the admiration that Damon had for Red Fox. For whatever issues with Red Fox, quit the show for a little bit over contract disputes. And
everybody had trouble with Norman Lear.
He didn't say a negative thing about Red, and in fact said one of the things I'm happy about is Red kind of showed me that the show business side that I wasn't really well aware of that could grind you up and spit you out if you weren't careful.
Remember the guy who played Mr. Miyagi and on Happy Days, Pat Morita. He played Achu in Sanford Son, Lamont's friend, and he was actually in the show, and he was friends with Red Fox. That was his name on the show. That was his name, Achu. And it's another time. But he became friends with Red Fox. And when you watch interviews with the late Pat Morita, Red Fox helped him out a lot, too. Gave him some financial help and advice about being a comedian, and was very nice to him. And he had nothing good to say about Red Fox, too, because he knew him back then in the day as an aspiring, struggling comedian. What
I think Red Fox was able to do that probably turned people off, but it was a good thing, is he said, if I'm coming here, I'm going to own it.
Right.
And that can rub people the wrong way in Hollywood when you've got other stars on that lot or in that time slot, and Red Fox goes, you're not going to ever work in this time slot again because we're going to own it.
Yep. And the Red Fox also had a lot of financial troubles later on in life because I understand that he loved to give a lot of his money away. He spent it. He goes, hey, if you don't spend money, I never had money, so I'm spending it. I don't care. And he got into IRS troubles and tax problems and stuff. But he did give a lot of it away to people from what I hear. So, and he said, what would you get? Somebody was interviewing him once. And he goes, what advice would you give an up and coming comic, Red Fox, if you're a comic in Hollywood and you want to make it? He goes, get a job somewhere near food, like at a restaurant, because you're going to want to be near food to be able to eat when you're hungry, because you can't be funny on stage when you're hungry.
Right.
So he says, be able to do something else while you hone your act. And I'm like, that's pretty good advice.
I think it's going to make for an interesting interview.
I'm looking forward to hearing that. I haven't heard the Misty Rosas. Is that her name?
Misty Rosas, yes.
From The Mandalorian. I haven't heard that one yet, but I'm looking forward to that one and the one coming up with Damon Wilson. So check it out if you haven't, the Wilder Ride podcast on your favorite podcatchers or wherever you get your glove and catch those podcasts.
It's everywhere. It's even on YouTube.
Find it, and you can hear that interview and all their upcoming stuff, which is great. And I've been on there, so there's a bunch of good guys.
Several times.
We're familiar with them. We're all familiar with each other.
Yes.
We like being and stuff. But I got my tickets to see The Eternals. Marvel Studios' new movie, The Eternals, opened last night at midnight. It's another Marvel installment. I'm just glad that we're back on track with movies coming out. I was glad to see Shang-Chi come out. Marvel's back. We're back in the MCU having a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing that today. Pro or con, I've heard pro and con reviews about it. It is a different movie, so don't expect the Avengers, everybody out there. Don't expect Captain America or Iron Man or even Guardians of the Galaxy. This is another different facet. These are more immortal beings that have
called
huge
Earth
significance.
Home for some reason.
Yeah,
and why? Because I do know that they in the trailers they talk about, well, why didn't you come help when all that other stuff was going on?
You'll find out.
Right.
I know exactly why they didn't, because I know that one of their mandates is they can't.
But do they have a prime directive?
They have a prime directive. That's exactly what it is, and it's no big secret, that's what it is. But we'll see why. And I hear this movie jumps in time when you watch it. You'll see one time era, then it goes to another one. It goes to them because they've been here since the Earth was
since it cooled.
It's cooled off, yeah, which it is right now.
And then the dinosaurs came, but they got too big and fat and turned into Mercedes Benzes.
Did I leave the iron on? So yeah, and if you guys are gearing up soon, I hope to do Willy Wonka on the Wilder Ride. Yep. I'm really looking forward to that. If that's going to be one of your, that has to be one of them eventually.
See, I got to be careful because I've got a co-host now who's got a girlfriend all of a sudden. Now he doesn't have any free time.
Okay.
I'm like, what are you doing? Didn't you learn the lesson the first time? Nah, you're going to make the same mistake twice.
Don't do that. Thanks for being here as always. Good to have fun, buddy, and we'll see you next week. So see everybody else out there next week. We'll turn it into a podcast and see everybody out there where you can hear it. It's BK on the air. Take care.
Hi, doggy. Nice doggy. Here, boy. Come on. Hi, fella. Hey!
Don't run.
Mutt.
Walk away slowly.
He tried to bite me.
Never try to pet an animal you don't know. He may be lost, sick, or scared.
You mean he might be dangerous?
That's right. If we don't know, we leave him alone.
And we don't get bit. Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!